Hello and welcome to Management 301. My name is Andrew Johnston. I'm excited to be here with my Nichols Online folks, with you guys here. Congratulations on making a great decision to take this course. I myself started this whole journey towards being a professor in about 2016 when I decided to upgrade my own credentials with a business qualification. I took an MBA at University of Calgary in 2016. And this is going to be just a bit of an introductory lecture here. We're not going to get really deep into any of the topics yet. That'll be the next two sessions here during the first week that'll be posted along with this one in Canvas. But this one's just really a chance to get to understand the topics that we're going to be covering, the layout of the course, and just for me to introduce myself a bit to y'all. So a little bit about me. We just moved here, my family and I, from Canada, from a city called Calgary, Alberta. We are thrilled to be here in Thibodaux, South Louisiana. We absolutely love it. We love the hot weather. We love the sunshine. And yeah, the heat. So far, we're just extremely grateful. When it's 100 degrees, we love it. I'm sure that'll change as time goes on, but right now it's a really nice change from the snow that we're used to about this time of year. Hobbies, I do a lot of music production right now. I really love music. I'm a drummer, but lately been more getting into sort of electronic music. I've put a Packback forum post where I'm going to get you guys to introduce yourselves and kind of say a bit of the same thing. What's your hometown? Why are you doing this course? And what are your hobbies? Nice way to sort of break the ice, especially in an online setting here, and get to know each other a bit. So this is us. My kids were super excited that they got to meet ZZ from Swamp People. He came down to Nichols. Maybe you saw him here on the quad if you were around campus in September. My educational background, I have a BA in social sciences, kind of sociology, psychology, and political science. I did a MSc, a master's designation in what's called comparative politics. It was kind of like political history in London. And then most recently, like I said, in 2016, I decided to upskill and get a business designation, something a little more technical. So I did an MBA in finance at University of Calgary that led to an opportunity to do a PhD in strategy and global management, or sometimes we just call it international business and strategy. So that's what I'm doing now, expecting to complete this year. Past work experience, my professional experience, I had a number of professional jobs in management positions. I managed a team of 10 apprenticeship assessors. When I lived in London, we ran an apprenticeship that was a business administration apprenticeship, a kind of different format that we had there in England, but you could basically get qualified on the job that you were doing, and I helped students do that. A great number of them at famous banks and financial institutions like Standard Chartered and Goldman Sachs. Some of the big banks you might have heard of, Citibank, but over in the UK. After that, I worked at what's called an executive search consultancy. Sometimes they're called headhunters, but I helped find top managers for international charities like Wikipedia. We found them a board member from Apple, as it turned out. Also kind of charities similar to Médecins Sans Frontières, some microfinance banks at World Vision. So some really cool roles there, hiring top managers as well. And then most recently, before I started my PhD, I was a commercial banker in Calgary, Alberta, doing finance and lending to all sorts of businesses in Calgary, Alberta. A lot of them may be similar to the businesses we have here in Louisiana, because we had a lot of oil and oil field service businesses up north there in Calgary. So that's my work experience. What are we going to be covering in this course? Well, this week, we're going to just be getting into getting our feet wet, if you like, with this whole idea of management. What is management? What is a manager? What do they actually do? Some of you maybe have already worked as managers or supervisors. Some of you may have been managed by managers or supervisors of varying quality. But we'll talk a bit about, well, what is the technical definition and what sort of things tend to end up on a manager's job description. The second week, we'll be talking a bit more about broad-based analysis of the management environment. What is our company doing? How is our company doing? What's its strategy? That's the word we'll really be looking at during week 2 is what is the strategy of our company? Is it a good strategy? Does the strategy of our company match the resources of our company and the things that we're good at to the external environment as we've identified it and apply those resources in a way that can generate some value? In week 3, we start looking at what's called the four tasks of the manager, the 4 things that managers do. And that's broken down into planning and decision making, which we'll talk about in week 3, into organizing, which we'll talk about in week 4, into leading, which we'll talk about in week 5, and into controlling, which we'll talk about in week 6. There's a few assessments here on this course. Let's see, a total of 5 assessment types, but some of those have multiple deliverables within that type. So 2 exams, a midterm and a final. One of them is worth about 27% of your overall grade. Another one's worth a third. 33.3% is the final exam. There'll be 5 pack-back assignments. Now, we'll talk about that in a minute here. That's forum posts, which you might be used to, but with a bit of a AI-enhanced quality control to it. There'll be 5 quizzes, which will be administered, of course, online. And then there'll be a company analysis assignment where we use some of those tools from the business strategy toolbox to analyze a real company. All of that's going to total up to 750 points. So the pack-back, what is that? Basically, it's a discussion forum that's kind of AI moderated in that it sets a certain hurdle for quality of posts and quality of responses. So starting week 2 of the course, so not this week, but next week, we'll be setting that hurdle. I've posted a pack-back discussion for this week, but it's unmarked. It's just a chance to introduce yourself. And there's no curiosity score or sort of hurdle there for the sophistication of your answer. But starting in week 2, you're going to have to achieve a minimum curiosity score of 60 or higher on each post. It'll tell you, it'll coach you towards that within the pack-back software, and you'll see how to do that. It's not complicated, but basically it means you can't just post a one-liner and say, there, I'm done. It prods you a bit to dig a bit deeper with your responses. And so you'll be posting 1 open-ended question to pack-back every week. You'll be answering your own question, and then you'll be posting 2 responses to your teammates' questions, your classmates' questions. And like I said, it'll be setting a bit of a hurdle there for you. They have to achieve a curiosity score of 60 or higher for each post and response for it to be accepted. And it'll block you from submitting it until you hit that hurdle. So in a sense, it protects you from yourself. It says, no, you're not quite there yet. You're not quite there yet. And then once you've got that, unless you've somehow managed to completely break the system, you should have something reasonable, but I don't anticipate that happening. And this should be very helpful to generate some good discussions. This requires a pack-back subscription, which is included with your Kernel book bundle. If you have any questions about that, you can call Packback or talk to the bookstore, but you'll all be given access to that with the Kernel book bundle that you get. Same thing with the textbook for this course. Instructions for getting help from Packback support are in the syllabus, including a link to an instructional video that you can access. But these discussions will be posted to Canvas and you'll access it like everything in this course directly through Canvas through the modules for each week. Quizzes. There's 5 graded quizzes worth 15 points each, and there's going to be 1 optional bonus quiz this week that's worth 10 points in addition to that 750. So that's a pretty good little incentive to do the quiz and get some extra points, a bit of a buffer. These are going to be taken probably through a mix of Canvas and through the MindTap website for the textbook, the Cengage MindTap textbook. They might all end up being through that Cengage there, but I'll sort of make that call as we go on. And just depending, if I want to add some stuff from outside the textbook, I might just post that to Canvas instead. But it'll be really clear. It'll be on Canvas for that week. Here's the quiz. Away you go. The company analysis essay will be a 2 to 3 page essay submitted by Packback. You'll be using the tools of management to analyze a real company. You'll be assessing its strategy. You'll be making some recommendations for change. Depending on what you identify as its key issue. Should it keep pushing forward with what it's doing? Does it need to maybe pivot and move in a different direction? And you'll also be making recommendations for leadership initiatives to implement that change based on the discussions we have in that class. Further details will be posted in Canvas once we've covered some of the material, so it doesn't overwhelm anyone with all these new concepts. I'll post that once we've covered the relevant stuff here in class. Exams, 160, 60 multiple choice questions for the first exam, 60 for the second exam. But the second exam, the final, just has a bit more weighting to the exam. All exams now have to be proctored, so you can either do that through the Academic Testing Center on campus or using software called ProctorU, which you might already be familiar with already. Just a note there, you guys probably know this, and I've never had it come up yet, but ProctorU only works with Windows and Mac OS, so you can't use it on an iOS device. I'm afraid you can't use it on an Android device or a Chromebook. And if there's any Linux users out there, unfortunately, you can't use it with Linux either. So Mac or Windows, but if you're made it this far, I'm sure that's not going to be a problem, or you can avail yourself of resources, perhaps on campus, labs, etc. Please see the syllabus for instructions on how to set up proctoring. That's your guys' responsibility, so just make sure you figure out how to do that and get ahead of it. Exam prep and quiz prep is going to be through MindTap. So in addition to the quizzes, which will be marked, I'm going to assign activities from each chapter that will address the topics that are going to be on the quizzes and exams. So the best possible prep for the quizzes and exams will be watching these lectures, of course, reading the chapter, and then doing the exercises, which won't be for points, but will be for preparation before you do the quiz or the exam. You'll need a MindTap subscription to access these, as well as the quizzes. That'll be, again, included in your kernel book bundle. My dog is getting a little rambunctious there, so please excuse him. And finally, additional support. So I have regular office hours that I keep for both online students and in-person students. And there's a few ways to contact me. You're always welcome to drop in my office hours. You can always reach out if you need to try and arrange something outside of those hours. I always try to go the extra mile and be available to my students as and when they need it. It suits their schedule, so I'll do my best to make it happen. Pick up the phone and call me if you don't want to come in. Lots of students call me on the office phone. There is probably the easiest during work days because I have pretty bad cell reception in the hall there in my office, but feel free, there's my cell number as well. Some students just want to shoot me a text with a quick question. Some students want to phone me on my cell phone. Absolutely fine. If I don't answer, just means that either my cell reception isn't there, I'm not getting it. Leave a voicemail, leave a text, use email, whatever channel works for you to contact me. I'm here for you guys. Talking to you guys is the best part of my day. So please don't hesitate for any reason to contact me. Don't suffer in silence. Don't bang your head against the wall. Give me a call, give me a shout, or just come in and see me. I'd love to see you guys. My office, it's on the syllabus, so I didn't put it here. It's 316 in Powell Hall, third floor there, all the way up to the top. Love to see you guys when you're around. All right, so welcome and good luck to you all. I'm sure you guys are all ready to do this and looking forward to seeing you in the next lecture.